But I searched far and wide, at least for the best content creator, and there has been nobody better that I have found other than this guest here right below from me. So he's got now it's the Washington Commanders rather than just the football team. And the one person to cover it, he's joining me here via the Global Satellite Network presented by StreamYard, Rio Robinson with Rambling with Rio here with me. So I have to ask before we start, how long did it take you until the news finally broke out of the new name change? Like, how long did it take for you to kind of get used to the name, the Commanders? I'm very curious of it.
First of all, thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate the kind words. And this is Commander Rio checking in for duty. Honestly, it didn't take me too long to settle into it because the team pretty much in a hype video called Making the Brand already gave us like a month ahead notice of what the name was going to be. They teased the logo, the new jerseys, and the thing. And like super sleuth Sherlock Holmes did on Twitter. We knew what the name was going to be. Like we had hopes, like, oh, it could be misdirection. It could be a sleight of hand. This team doesn't operate like that. So, I mean, I'm used to it. I wanted us to be the Wolves, the Red Wolves, something cool. But ultimately, the name was never going to make or break my fandom. And I can live with it. You know, like the old name, like I'm 30. The old name didn't mean anything to me. I never seen us win anything. Like it didn't mean anything to me.
Oh, I totally hear you on that. I would have teased it, and honestly, why not would we have called them the Washington Sentinels? Like, you've watched The Replacements, right?
Of course, Sam Falco.
I mean, hey, why couldn't we just tease that? I think I felt like it would have been a little bit fun. I think the colors would have been a little bit different, but still, I mean.
The colors weren't anywhere. Our fan base makes a huge deal out of everything. If they would have changed the color, they might have burnt the DC, Maryland, Virginia area to the ground.
Oh boy, yeah. You better hope the other teams like the Wizards and the Nationals are fleeing sight because
we're the one unique team that doesn't have the patriotic colorway. So we're the one unique thing in the DMV right now.
So all right, so Rio, we're talking a little bit about Carson Wentz. You've heard my point, and honestly, I felt like apparently America's not sold on Carson Wentz at all. I truly don't understand that. Like, if there's anybody that I feel like kind of get the same similar vibe, it has to be Derek Carr of the Raiders. 27 touchdowns, 7 picks last year, and that's with a low-end offensive core. Like, I love Michael Pittman, but everybody else just seems to disappear. It's not even that great, that great of an offense, especially when you've got a potential MVP in Jonathan Taylor. So what was your initial reaction? You've seen Russell Wilson go to Denver, and now Washington brings in Carson Wentz. Like, how did this really kind of spring about?
I'll say my initial reaction was, one, I was hurt with the Russell Wilson thing because it's not just that they wanted to ship him out of contract thing. He said he would not waive his no trade clause for us. So once again, we're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Like, we can never reel in that huge fish. And all offseason, we've been talking Rodgers, Wilson, Watson, and also that news today that Deshaun Watson cleared all criminal charges. It kind of stings a little bit too, but I also think, like Wilson, he wouldn't have signed up to willingly participate in the circus that is being a Washington Commander. But with Wentz, for me, it was just like, this is probably the best we can do. Like, we're giving up compensation and we're eating his salary for a year. But if it doesn't work out, we can get out of it at next year. And I don't look too deeply into salary cap because the salary cap's like an urban legend in the league. Like, you can make it come out of nowhere. You could pull a rabbit out of a hat and have $40 million of cap space. So that didn't bother me. But I like Carson Wentz. I don't love Carson Wentz, but I think he's better than every available quarterback. I wanted no parts of Jimmy G. I did not want Mitch Trubisky, who the league in NFL media is for some reason gawking over as if he wasn't a bust in Chicago and blaming all of his shortcomings on Matt Nagy, like he didn't go out there and play football, but giving the same situations and telling me that Carson Wentz is trash, but you wanted Mitchell Trubisky, Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater. Carson Wentz is 6'6", 230 with the arm and talent that we've not seen here. He's the best quarterback we've had post Kirk, and probably the most talented quarterback we've had since rookie year RG3 10 years ago. So I don't see everyone's meeting it with resistance because we let the whole world know that we wanted a superstar and we didn't get one. But Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. Like, let's stop it. 27-7. There's a lot of people. A lot of interceptions were dropped. Every quarterback has a lot of interceptions dropped. Like they look for every reason. The media hates him. They say he's a bad leader. I've watched Hard Knocks and I've watched the outpouring of teammate support from the Indianapolis Colts about him leaving, and it don't add up to me. It does not add up to me. Like I don't see why so much flack.
Yeah, it honestly is so strange to me because honestly, I just felt like Carson Wentz was never really given a fair chance at all. And I mean, you got to think about it. The mess that happened in Philadelphia with the fact of they're pinning him up on a corner. They're like, he's overthrowing, he's injury prone. And it's like, could you really blame him? Like, first of all, the offensive line was not as healthy. I mean, everybody like Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, all of them were hurt.
He never had receivers there.
Yeah, and never had at least not healthy ones, never even like legitimate ones. So it's just like you automatically pin the blame. In comes Jalen Hurts, and obviously they were ready to move on from him if that's what it felt like. But I knew for a second when Carson leaves, something good was going to end up happening. Now he comes into the Colts, better offensive line, has a MVP in Jonathan Taylor, and all of a sudden, they get upset, but you never really figured out Jacksonville at all in the last couple of years. So do you really blame Carson for that? It's like everything. It's like it's as if he's the scapegoat to everyone's problems. Like he literally is. And so in comes Washington, and this was my initial reaction. Cam Sims, like Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, and I'm excited for this. And honestly, your opinion with Ron Rivera, because this has been a guy who has dealt with Cam Newton. He's dealt with Kyle Allen. He's dealt with a bunch of different quarterbacks.
He dealt with like 10 quarterbacks in 2 years there.
Yeah. And so here's an opportunity for Carson Wentz. And Ron Rivera now has a grown-up in a quarterback. And now, again, there's a certain amount of recklessness you can deal with Carson Wentz. But could Ron Rivera potentially coach him a little bit out of that?
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, I think they like a quarterback that takes risks. I mean, Ron Rivera, they call him Riverboat for a reason. For me, the part where I immediately accepted it was like, I can roll with Wentz. I cannot watch another game managing check down Jesus like Alex Smith. I could, like, if we would have got Teddy Bridgewater, I might have vomited on my show. Like, I cannot watch a quarterback with no upside or a quarterback with no arm. Taylor Heineke's a great story. You can only open up a certain part of the playbook because he can't throw outside the boundaries. He can't throw to the honey hole. He cannot fit throws in tight windows. I'm glad we got a quarterback that can spread. We can open the whole playbook for this guy now. I think they can deal with that. I don't think Carson Wentz is this huge like douche like everybody thinks he is, man. Like you said, he's been scapegoated in a way. Nor do I think we're getting this like superstar quarterback, but we've seen superstar potential out of him that we haven't seen in any of the other available quarterbacks except Jameis Winston.
Yeah, absolutely. And I truly agree because, again, and this is what people just brush off and forget. The 2017 Super Bowl team.
MVP.
Like MVP numbers. People completely forget who got you there in the playoffs in the first place before he got injured. And Nick Foles initially, I mean, I felt like that was lightning in the bottle, and it was more of a team effort than it really was of, you have Carson Wentz and all of a sudden Nick Foles. Like, it was more of a team effort. The defense was lethal. The offense, I thought, was clicking at the right time, and that was the case. But now it's like, here we are. And so, and if you're the defensive side of the football, you got to be feeling great about it because finally there's a quarterback that can get it to you on those offensive weapons. And one where if we trust him to make the plays, we're going to go out and we're just going to be a shutdown defense. So now having an entire healthy defense, like what could possibly be the needs now next for the Washington Commanders moving forward?
Like we've allocated so many draft picks and money to this defense that I think we need to take this whole offense and try to stack the deck for Carson Wentz. We need to re-sign J.D. McKissick, maybe re-sign Cam Sims, but I think we could find something. I would sign and draft a receiver and another tight end because Logan Thomas is going to miss the first month of the season because he had a late season ACL tear when we played Vegas. We got to stack the deck for Wentz. He's the quarterback now. So let's go out and do what we've done with this defense for them. Like, we've drafted first round in like the last 5 years, excluding the Dwayne Haskins pick. It's been all defense. It's time that we go out and do it. Go get him one of his tight ends that he's played with. Go get Ertz or Mo Alley Cox for a fair deal. Go get a DJ Chark or go shoot for an Amari Cooper. First round pick, go get me Treylon Burks. Go get me Chris Olave. Drake London. Build a basketball team for Carson Wentz because he has the arm to layer the ball all the way across the field. Like, we finally get to see Terry catch a 60-yarder in stride and not have to come back for it and make a clear breakaway touchdown, a 50-50 ball. Like, I'm so happy to have that. I'm grateful because quarterbacks come a dime a dozen in this town. It's been purgatory for so long.
Yeah, and that was the first thing that I thought of, was because now you have a legitimate wide receiver in Terry McLaurin. I mean, he's scary Terry. Like, I talked about this too with another content creator, Couch Coach, and just before, the Chargers in Washington were playing in week 1, and a lot of those catches he made are not that easy, but he makes them look so simple. And I have that envisioning of Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin literally just tearing up downfield. And that's exactly what you need in this league. You got to have two.
And dare I knock on wood and say we actually get to see Curtis Samuel this year because he was on the side field all of last year. That adds a whole new wrinkle to the offense. Fill the team with speed. Build a basketball team around them. Speed and size. Just go get it. Go get all of it. Spend the money on that.
Rio Robinson joining me here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. So let's talk a little bit more about the NFC East, your own division. So the Giants obviously get themselves a brand new coach, and it clearly looks like they're not walking away from Daniel Jones, but who knows? I mean, honestly, if he figures this out, maybe it might be better for him. The Eagles end up making the playoffs as a wild card team with Jalen Hurts. To me, it clearly shows they are a run team. They're not a pass team. I've told people this several times. And then there's the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, they got better. They vastly improved. Micah Parsons is unbelievable on defense. And then there's Trayvon Diggs. So, are there some obstacles Washington has now within the division? And how can Washington really make the adjustments to maybe potentially shooting for this division?
I mean, for one, I would like us to become an obstacle because Dallas absolutely kicked our ass twice last year. Like, they put up almost 60 on us in prime time, and I'm still recovering from it. But for one, quarterback play is probably 8 out of the 10 things we need changed here because we were some Taylor Heineke bad games away from having a playoff season last year. And we had to start Garrett Gilbert on primetime versus the Eagles one game too. So that's another reason why the Eagles got in the playoffs and we didn't. But that, and we need our defensive line to live up to their draft slotting. Like Chase Young, love the guy. I think he could be a top-notch pass rusher in this league. He was disappointing as hell last year. 1.5 sacks through 10 weeks as a 4-3 DN. Sacks almost fall to you. I don't need to see guys like Azeez Ojulari outproducing Chase Young. That's not. I need him and Montez Sweat to both dig in their pass rush arsenal and hit the lab. Maybe this injury is the best thing to happen to Chase so he can go back and really get in the lab and develop a pass rush plan. We need Payne, Allen, Sweat, and Young to become the dominant force that we envisioned when we drafted them. If that happens, this team can be what they need to be because we have a dominant side of the ball and we actually have a competent quarterback leading the other side of the ball. We could put 2 and 2 together and compete for the division. But I need to see it to believe it right now. I'm just ready to see how we build it during the offseason.
Absolutely. I couldn't even agree more. I mean, the fact of also, too, even the linebacker Bostic was somebody that I think really has a good upside for Washington. And my only hope is that for them, I do feel like they should at least shoot to maybe getting a corner, because a lot of these teams now, they're very offensive centric, that at some point you got to put somebody on one of those number one receivers, because anytime because a quarterback loves to throw downfield anytime they get an open opportunity. So, there's plenty on the market, and hopefully, to the liking, that could be something that they could really, really build upon. Now, it's pretty interesting because of the fact of now, so we're moving on from the Redskins and then from the Washington football team to now the Washington Commanders. And again, I felt for this organization, and obviously with the investigations and obviously the Dan Snyder thing. I mean, this has to feel like, if you're looking at the fan base, this has to feel like this is the positive trend that Washington fans needed. And could you agree on that?
Yeah, for me, it's all a breath of fresh air. You just said something about 3 names in the last 4 years. That's more playoff games than we've won. We have more name changes than playoff wins in the last 20 years, man. Like, think about that. We've won our last playoff win was 2005. I started watching this team and knowing what I was talking about since 2000. We've won 1 playoff game in that time span, but we've had 3 name changes. That's why I can't speak for all fans, but my age demographic of the fan base, everything feels like a breath of fresh air to me. There's the one constant that we can't get rid of, which is the owner, Teflon Dan Snyder. For some reason, we can't get rid of this dude. And he probably knows where all the bodies are buried league-wide, so the owners can't vote him out. But I feel like the coach and staff we've put together here, they can build a foundation that can win in spite of having an idiot for an owner.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think this is a good thing, because I honestly look at more for the fans, and rather than, because I mean, if I look at a front office that just has this many issues, I just feel it for the fans. I mean, this is a great thing for the fans themselves. My man, I absolutely loved it. I loved the move. I'm really am pulling that. I think Washington is definitely going to be a threat in the next year.
I hope so.
I'm hoping so too. One more question before I let you go here. How do you think the chant is really going to go? Like, fun question from here, because now with being the command, what exactly is going to be the chant the second I'm in there in Washington? Like, if I'm going and seeing a game, what I may expect from there?
We're going to have to workshop it, because I'll tell you what it won't be. It won't be that we are the Commanders, that Pat McAfee teases on the show every day. It won't be that. I don't know. We got to workshop something. For now, we're going to have to figure it out. We're going to somehow hail to the Commanders. That's a long name that you can't really shorten, combies. None of that works. All that's controversial, and it doesn't work. We'll figure it out, man. Yeah. We'll figure it out a day at a time. I like the uniforms. The name is meh, but that's my squad. I'm going to roll with them to the end of time, man.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it, man. Where can people find you for your content and really reach out to you on everything Washington Commanders?
Absolutely, man. Y'all can find me at the Rambling with Rio, Rambling W/Rio YouTube channel. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rio_Robinson91, stirring up things, talking my ish, and always keeping it real, unbiased, impartial, and repping my Washington Commanders, man.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Rio. It's been a very, very good pleasure, and especially rambling and grambling about those Washington Commanders. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how next season is definitely going to be for sure. Thank you so much for it. Have a great Friday and a great weekend, and we will definitely catch up with you soon.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me, man.